Thanks for joining us on another episode of Off the Air. I'm your host, Ben Agbeke, and today we're joined by Sammy Banga, Steer and Dylan Perego. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, we're going to start right up with Sammy. So, let's flash back to homecoming weekend. Steel Blade game, we're midway through the second, you're actually getting some penalty calls, and you think you're out for the shout. So, can you tell us what's going on through your mind from that moment on, leading until the victory in overtime?
It was a weird shift. I was pretty tired. I was out there for like a minute, and then all of a sudden they gave me a head checking penalty, which was kind of a soft call, but I understood it. And then the the linesman told me I was kicked out, so they gave me a 10 and a 2, which usually means you're done for the game. But so I went in the dressing room and then waited, because I didn't really believe I got kicked out, and then I waited and nobody said anything to me. So I started getting undressed, and then 5 minutes later I was in my dress clothes, and then they came off for the second intermission, and then the trainers came in the room like, put your clothes back on, like you have to get out there, it's period's about to start. And so I threw on my gear and then had a couple first rough shifts in the third period, then it ended up working out in the overtime winner in the Steel Blade. So it worked out in the end, but it was a weird moment for sure.
You boys on the baseball team actually just came back from some road victories against Laurier. You outscored them 26-11 runs. Knowing all this, what are your expectations going into the postseason?
So yeah, being the competitive team that we are, our expectations obviously is to come out with a championship, but it's easier said than done. So with the 4 competitive teams that are going to be in the playoffs, we just have to play consistent baseball and hopefully play our game and come out on top.
Yeah, the biggest thing is really just keeping the mental focus, coming out, playing every game our way, not trying to fall down to the other team's game or anything like that. From the beginning of the year on, we've always said we're not defending our title, we're chasing another title. So it's just keeping a good mental edge and just really not taking anything for granted. There's not every team's going to make the playoffs. Obviously, there are some stronger teams, there are some weaker teams, but we just, no matter who we're facing, no matter who we're playing, just going out there and play every game like the way we know how to, the way we play Badger baseball.
Sammy, you guys just came back from a couple of road games out east in the Atlantic. Going back from Steel Blade, where you won all your games, to 3 road losses, what would you say is the biggest takeaway in terms of lesson that your team had while building on those games?
Honestly, it was a great trip for us in the long run, because we played 2 of the top teams in Canada. We played Acadia, who's been to nationals 3 years in a row, and they're, especially with a lot of new guys on the team, we're just gelling the first month of the season. It was a good experience for us in the long run.
And do you find that these teams in the Atlantic had a different style of play than what you're used to here in Southern Ontario?
I feel like they're faster. They play a different type of game. There might be a little bit more skill over there compared to here, where there's a little more grit. So, you just have to adjust. We don't play those teams too often, but those are the types of teams we want to beat when we get to nationals.
Great. Glad you guys have some lessons from those games. So, Dylan, you actually got Player of the Week last week for Brock Badgers Athletics. Congrats on that. And you managed to actually pull through a victory on your birthday, beating Western, one of the conference rivals here. And just wondering, were there any celebrations after the game? If so, what was it like? Because I imagine that's a huge victory for you.
Yeah, it was pretty special. Something that I didn't really expect going in. I prepare for each start equally. No matter who we're facing, and I didn't really kind of put any extra emphasis on it because it was my birthday. I just kind of try and keep things simple, keep my approach. Yeah, being able to throw a complete game definitely was special. Definitely something I'll remember for a long time. It didn't really sink in until we were kind of, heading home, and I kind of realized what had happened. And there's not a whole lot of celebrating. I guess just kind of, I got a lot of congratulations from teammates and coaches and family. My family was there too, so that was pretty nice. And
I'm really curious to know, were there any Badgers 24/7 episodes? Because I know that last year that was something that was big in circulation.
After his win, not necessarily, but they did start it going up now. So check out Badgers 24/7 on Facebook. But no, after the win, we actually have this wrestling belt that we give out as player of the game. Mm-hmm. So once we hit up the bus, Perego was well deserved of grabbing that wrestling belt, player of the game that day.
I got to get me one of those belts. So we're going to do a different segment of the show now. We're actually going to ask you guys to tell us 3 interesting things about yourselves that most people wouldn't know. So we're going to start off with you, Sammy.
First thing is I was never recruited here to Brock. I mean, I got here because one of my former teammates, Andrew Rajanovic, got me here. So it ended up working out pretty well. My parents are both born in India, and I was born here, and there's not that many Indian people that play hockey, so that's something new too. Mm-hmm. And last thing, I studied criminology and sociology here at Brock.
All right, so 3 interesting things about me. People don't know, but my parents were born in Jamaica. I got to go down there in 2009. A beautiful country. Hopefully get to go back pretty soon. I did 4 years in the States before I came to Brock. I had an athletic scholarship to a school in Iowa. Did there 2 years, and then I went to North Dakota for 2 years. And one more thing, if I wasn't playing baseball, I would try to find a school I could play volleyball at. Not really big, but I can get up there a little bit, could jump.
Okay, so 3 interesting things about me. I guess one of them would be Brock isn't my first post-secondary school. I was actually, I went to school in the States for 4 years before this. A small little school called the University of Rio Grande in Southeast Ohio. Played baseball here, and then I actually got recruited by Brock, a former Brock pitching coach at the time, and it's my second year here now playing for the Badgers and going to Brock. After I get my undergrad degree in English at Brock, I hope to get into sports journalism. I've got my eyes on a couple programs there. And also, I guess the third last thing was before I did the whole baseball recruiting thing, I had actually got accepted to go to school at Western. So it took about 4 years, but I made the right decision to come to Brock, so I'm happy about that.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today, and best of luck with your games this weekend. And thank you for watching Off the Air. Stay tuned for the next episode.